My wife and I decided to make the drive to Colorado Springs on the recommendation of a friend of mine. She had never seen the mountains before, so I figured the Rockies would be perfect. We stayed in a Holiday Inn that was right at the base of the mountain, basically, and it had a great view of Pikes Peak. As soon as we looked out the window, we could see everything. She was thrilled. She had never seen anything like it before, and she is a sucker for a gift shop, so this place was great. We had a great time overall. On our second day, we decided to drive up to Pikes Peak, but we were told at the gate we could go up most of the way, but the summit was closed because there was too much snow. We could still go pretty far up though. I think Pikes Peak is around 14,000 feet, and we got to like 11,000 feet before it was closed off. So, we were above the clouds, which was an awesome experience, because it just looked like we were out over the ocean. We stopped at the little rest area on the way up to get hot chocolate for the drive and a magnet for Colorado, since we collect them for every state that we go to. It was cool because we had Bigfoot crossing signs along the way up, and it was fun to take pictures in front of those. Anyway, once we got to the closed off part of Pikes Peak, we parked our car and got out and just kind of took in the view. I did not think anybody else was up there with us, except there was a guy a little way up sitting in his truck making sure people did not go up any higher than they were supposed to. Even if we could not go to the summit, it was still gorgeous. We took some pictures, all of which were terrible, and it was cold. But I insisted we buy 511 jackets, pants, and boots for the trek. My wife did not understand why I demanded that brand, but if you're a dude, you know. So, we were toasty. I wandered off and started to look around the rocks, and what few trees were up at that elevation. I just like to explore stuff off the beaten path. I heard some snow crunching nearby and assumed it was just another sightseer, so I moved toward the sound of the crunching snow, but oddly enough, I didn't see anybody. There are a few trees here and there, but not hard to really see. It was snowing a bit, however, and the wind was blowing the snow sideways. I had gone far from my wife at this point and did not want to stray too much farther, but I was honestly hoping to see a wolf or something. I found tracks in the snow and they were small. The snow was kind of deep, so I could not really tell what kind of animal made them, but it looked like a wolf. So, I was really hoping to see one. No, I did not see a wolf. At first, I did not see anything. I followed the tracks around a tree and kind of carefully peeked around it, but did not see a thing. The tracks stopped there, though. I did not get right up on the tree because if it was a wolf, I did not want to get face to face with it. I'll also say, I have no idea if there are any wolves in the Rockies. I was just sort of hoping. What I did see, eventually, was a pure white thing scurry away from the exact location I was looking at. It was pure white. I'm not sure if it was invisible or just blended in perfectly with the snow. It moved on all fours, had a huge bulbous head, kind of like what you would think of a typical alien. It had a spindly body. Its arms and legs were super skinny, and its body was not a whole lot bigger. Its arms and legs themselves were long. I would say it was probably between 4 to 5 feet tall if it were standing upright. It was a bit hard to tell, with it always being on all fours and in the snow. It turned around and looked at me. It had small black eyes and no defining features. Its eyes were far apart and almost on the side of its head. Its feet and hands were buried in the snow, but when it went to move, I saw what its hand looked like. It had fingers that were just way too long. Not like E.T. long, but wiry, spindly type fingers. It looked at me for just a second, and then leaped forward away from me. As soon as it landed in the snow, it was invisible again. Or maybe I just couldn't see it anymore. Then it started hopping again, and it jumped a good 6 feet or so from a dead stop. It then took off running. It ran away from me and scaled some rocks in the distance like it was nothing, and crawled along the cliffside. Whenever it was in the snow, it looked invisible. I'm not sure if that was because it was all white or basically if it was just turning invisible, I don't know. Anyway, in a few seconds it was gone. When I got back to my wife, she was waiting in the car and did not believe a word of it, and thought I was just trying to scare her. To this day, she does not believe me, and I don't know what it was. I have never heard of any cryptid or anything like it, and on the trek back, I asked the lady at the gift shop if people ever reported seeing weird things, and she just mentioned Bigfoot.